According to the Extraterrestrials. Chapter 7. Roswell.
Let us imagine an extraordinary tale. A story that for some will be incredible, but not for me. Yes, something quite fascinating happened, so let me quickly tell you. What if I told you that a little over a week ago, I went to a natural park and walked up to an isolated area where I encountered what can only be called a landed UFO. From where I was standing, I witnessed an extraterrestrial being coming out and down from inside this UFO ship. When it saw me, it got really scared and quickly got back into his spaceship and flew away, very fast. What do you imagine this alien being was like? How tall was it? What skin color did it have? Did it have any particular characteristics? Many people today would be influenced by popular culture, which over the recent past have depicted typical aliens in many so-called documentaries and movies. Almost always they are represented as little gray beings, with big heads, no hair and gray skin tone. This is a rather popular idea, but is it true? We wish to offer an alternative truth, surely not the same as what came from what happened in Roswell, and the resulting disinformation about those extraterrestrial beings that crash-landed there. Yes, we will cover the subject of the Roswell UFO crash, and the resulting attempts by earthly superpowers to copy the recovered spacecraft. Now, imagine a distant Earth future, where we have the capacity to travel to other planets, to explore and learn. Suppose also that our technology is so advanced, that we can use our advances in technology and artificial intelligence, to create miniature human-like robots. These human-like robots would be used as scouts in dangerous or risky expeditions, to help us detect possible dangers which might harm a human traveler. It makes sense we would use these human-like robots, to help minimize risk to human cosmonauts. Surely it's easy today to imagine these advanced robots would be outfitted with sophisticated communication devices, so they could transmit all they discover and find on these foreign worlds. These robots, equipped with their own artificial intelligence, could easily venture into unknown places, in multiple reconnaissance missions, without the need to expose human lives to any possible risks found in these unknown worlds. Now, what if in one of these expeditions, our robots were to encounter intelligent human life in one of these worlds? What do you think the inhabitants of that world would think when they saw our funny-looking human-like robots? Would they immediately think to describe the aliens who visit them as strange metallic-looking human-like creatures? Well, it happens to be that something exactly like that happened at Roswell. The Plagiarin extraterrestrials, who contact Billy Meier, have explained that there was indeed a crash-landing accident of a spaceship, manned with androids originating from a binary star system, in the southern constellation of Reticulum, known as Zeta Reticuli. It was the summer of 1947, when space travelers crash-landed their spacecraft, in an area known as Roswell, New Mexico, in the USA. Some of the occupants of this spacecraft were considered dead, and others were thought to have survived. Soon after this, the U.S. military authorities captured the creatures, along with the wreckage of the craft, and all the evidence was secretly sent to what is known as Area 51. The Plagiarin explained that the Zeta Reticuli aliens use androids in their exploratory missions. We are told they are not very tall, measuring around 1 meter, about 3 feet tall, and they have white skin and large heads, as compared to us. The androids that crashed in Roswell were artificially created organic androids. They are like robots, but instead of metal and computer chips, they have an organic system that uses cells and a brain. We are also told they have a basic kind of consciousness capable of their own decision-making. They communicate telepathically with each other, and are autonomous at the same time. They have a lifespan of about 300 Earth years and are not able to reproduce as they are asexual. Lastly, we are told their creators added a protection system into them that terminates them immediately if they were ever to rebel against them. So, let's now talk about the actual beings of Zeta Reticuli, responsible for creating these androids that travel in flying saucers. The Plagiaran extraterrestrial Semjase describes them as peaceful and curious human beings who wish to explore and know more about life on Earth and other planets. She says that these beings are indeed human, light-skinned, measuring between 126 to 163 centimeters in height. On average they are 1.45 meters tall. About 4 feet 10 inches. Semjase says they resemble the character Fantomas from the French fantasy film series. Zeta Reticuli human beings, in their spacesuit, are like Fantomas, but they use a kind of sunglasses. The Zeta Reticuli star system is located just 37 light-years from Earth. As a result, the image that has been popularized about extraterrestrials being little green men is only the result of these androids that came from Zeta Reticuli. In reality, the vast majority of the extraterrestrials that are observing Earth are humans, very similar to us. We are told they look like us, because we all share the same human ancestors. Various human races on Earth have their origin from interplanetary human travelers that came and settled on our planet long ago to live among Earth human beings who originated in our planet. Yes, the Plagiaran extraterrestrials tell us that those stories about violent abductions, reptilians, cattle mutilations, hybridizations, occult relations between space beings and terrestrial governments are simply not true. What is true, however, is that the ETs are indeed watching us and patiently waiting for us to further evolve and to become responsible as human beings with each other and our planet. While they do avoid intervening directly in our affairs, they do recognize earthly society is deeply intoxicated with false facts related to space beings. Much of what is told to us in popular culture is simply not true. Now, what of the hidden manufacture of flying saucer-like craft, made by Earth governments, using extraterrestrial technology? This story goes all the way back to World War II, when the Nazis developed a craft very similar in appearance to the known UFO images in popular culture. It is not difficult to think of a military-industrial complex, which has known about the presence of UFOs for a long time, wanting to copy and manufacture a similar type of craft. In fact, it is known that the Nazis even developed a flying device in the form of a flying saucer, which could travel at maximum of 2,000 kilometers per hour. We are told that after the end of the Second World War, the Nazis managed to destroy the UFO-like craft along with all the design plans, so that they would not fall into enemy hands. However, some of the German scientists who worked on the project, and who migrated to the United States, knew how to develop them again. Additionally, a Nazi group migrated to South America, and there they were developing those flying saucer-shaped craft. It followed that several nations, such as the United States, Canada, Russia, China and others, have continued their efforts to emulate this extraterrestrial technology. It is in their nature to rush and obtain samples of crashed extraterrestrial craft, and to analyze their technology, as it happened with the Roswell crash landing. However, the Plagiarin tell us that such experimental craft can only move inside the Earth's space and are not capable of interplanetary travel. They tell us Earth technology has not yet been perfected to that point, and it will be thousands of years before we can do so. The Plagiarin explained to us that the vast majority of UFO sightings are of these terrestrial craft, not extraterrestrial devices. Further, they tell us that the vast majority of UFO crashes are from these experimental earthly craft during their tests. Poth says, in Contact Report 522, on July 2011.
What is happening today, in Area 51, is as secret as it has always been, and what is being created there refers to a technology that is still so futuristic for the Earth's population today, that when the flying apparatus becomes public knowledge, it will in turn be classified as extraterrestrial technology. Although it is purely of Earth humans' achievements.
It is curious to see today the Disclosure Project, which seeks to prove that the United States has flying devices that use extraterrestrial technology, when in fact and in reality they are completely made with terrestrial technology. In conclusion, what we hope to share here is that our accepted popular culture image of extraterrestrial beings is wrong. Instead, the extraterrestrials visiting Earth are mostly humans like us, and we also share the same ancestry. Lastly, the subject of UFOs and extraterrestrial life has sadly become oversaturated with false and sensationalist information. That Earth governments have tried to duplicate extraterrestrial technology without succeeding, and more importantly, there are absolutely no secret pacts between Earth governments and any alien forces. We invite you all to stop looking for enemies out there, in space, and instead open your hearts to discover the real enemy that lives within us. Our still violent, aggressive, and power-hungry nature. We human beings of Earth are entering a new epoch that promises to allow our evolution to meet the truth and the knowledge of wisdom in peace and harmony with all human beings, the Earth, nature, the flora and the fauna. For there shall be peace on Earth.